Welcome to our comprehensive news package for today on Ogun State Television. I am Simiat Abaru. Our top stories tonight. President Tinubu urges Nigerians to partner police to tackle insecurity. Nigeria steps up effort to strengthen economic cooperation with Indonesia. Governor Abiodun inaugurates ATC Business and Industrial Park in Ode Remo to boost economic activities. And dozens killed as Angola flood death toll rises.
And on business, few marketers' earnings crashed 60% in downstream downturn. I bring you details of this and other stories when I return on the business segment of the news. I'm Olayemi Takuro. Stay with us.
Also on sports news tonight, FIFA approves Otto Concord switch from England to Nigeria. Join me on sports segment of the news for the details of this story and many more. I am Shiyelo Tungawe.
Today's accomplishments were yesterday's impossibilities. You can watch us live on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and reports, check us on these platforms: X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple and Google Play stores. President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians to collaborate with the police and other security agencies to effectively tackle insecurity across the country. Speaking at the 2026 National Police Day Grand Parade in Abuja, Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said national safety could not be achieved by law enforcement alone, stressing the need for citizens, community leaders, and institutions to actively support policing efforts. The president warned that mistrust between citizens and law enforcement would worsen insecurity. He added that Nigerians must begin to see the police as partners in maintaining peace and public safety. The president also charged the leadership of the Nigerian police force to sustain reform efforts and uphold professionalism in service. He said strengthening policing institutions remained critical to national stability, noting that the country would overcome its security challenges if reform efforts were sustained. Tinubu described the National Police Day as a commitment to building a professional and accountable police force capable of protecting citizens. Also speaking, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, said the force must rise above indiscipline and misconduct, warning that accountability would be enforced without exception. Disu assured officers that the leadership would support personnel who uphold professionalism while promising improvement in welfare and professional capacity. The Federal High Court in Abuja has begun the mass trial of suspected terrorists charged with terrorism offenses. The trial, which usually takes place at Kinji in Niger, was moved to the Federal High Court in Abuja since the court is currently on Easter vacation. The vacation, which commences on Tuesday, April 7, will end on April 13, and regular court sittings will resume on Tuesday, April 14, across all divisions of the court. The 13 courts at the Abuja FHC is currently busy with terrorist cases. Some of the trial judges are Justice Binta Nyako, Justice Emeka Nwite, Justice Musa Liman, Akwan Ekperete, among others. Reports have it that there was heavy security beef off in and around the Abuja Federal High Court, as all roads leading to the court were blocked by armed security personnel while police helicopters hovered around the central business district. And now to Ogun State. Construction of International Conference and Convention Center will soon commence within the newly commissioned Gateway International Airport in Ikere-Ilisha. Governor Dapo Abiodun disclosed this while speaking with journalists after President Bola Tinubu's inauguration of the airport. He noted that the center will have a 550-bedroom five-star hotel that will attract national conferences to the state. Governor's Office correspondent Yusuf Gani reports.
According to Governor Dapo Abiodun, the actualization for the inauguration of Gateway International Airport is a testament to focus and vision implementation strategy of his administration on modalities to attract more local and international flights to the airport. The governor said cargo operations have started with Allied Air, disclosing that Ethiopian Air will soon begin operations with another European carrier set to bring cargoes into the state from Europe. He added that about 50 cargo flights are expected to land at the airport between April and the end of the year.
So AirPC is deploying a 777. The only aircraft we get a 777 is that A380. And that 777 will take off from here, go to London, via Abuja. Like I said, the cargo operations have started with Allied Air. Ethiopian Air is also coming. And we also have another European carrier that's bringing cargo here from Europe. With that, I believe that will probably rank us maybe the third busiest airport in Nigeria, third behind Lagos and Abuja, with all what I've shared with you. And because of the level of aviation equipment that we have installed here and invested in this airport, I believe that it will attract more and more commercial operations.
Similarly, Ondo State Governor Orimisan Ayedatiwa says the airport will ease movement of people around the corridor with its proximity to Lagos and Ondo State, saying it is a landmark project for Nigeria.
Like we all know that Lagos is already saturated, and Ogun State with the proximity is the next location, and also very close to us here in Ondo State. From down here is just about one and a half hours. So this airport will be serving a lot of people. And I think it's like as an international airport, a cargo airport. A lot of businesses will be consummated from here. And it's a good thing for Nigeria, like Mr. President said, for the good of Nigeria, because this is one of the subnational within the country of Nigeria. So I congratulate Mr. President that during his time, Nigeria is fast growing and developing.
Also, Chairman, Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity, Senator Shoaib Afolabi Salisu, noted that the project is beyond infrastructure, but a legacy of Governor Dapo Abiodun that has put the state on global map.
The airport has been used for quite some time. You saw the airlines, you saw the two aircraft, but most important perhaps, you could also see the cargo airline that has just landed, dropping goods, meaning that a few kilometers from here, you have the agricultural testing center where we can export agri-produce from here. You could also see that the customs is also here. You can see a number of those. So this is not just an airport that is in isolation, it's an entire integrated system.
He also pointed out that the shared agenda of the state government is complementing the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. Yusuf Ganiyu, OGTV News.
In another development, the Chief Executive Officer, Access Bank Roosevelt Ogona, has commended the Ogun State government for putting in place economic policies that have made the state the preferred destination of choice for investors. He said that the government has opened up the state in a manner that partners are not just in the state for financial gains, but for creating vision, as well as working with the state to create a blueprint for what the future of the state should look like. The bank head made this known during an interview with journalists when he led members of his team to the office of the Ogun State Governor. He said that the commissioning of the Gateway International Airport is a kind of legacy that only a state like Ogun State can create.
What we saw on Saturday is the kind of legacy that they will create. So extremely proud to have actually been given the opportunity by His Excellency and the state government to participate and partner with them on that project, to see what was a vision on paper. When I say paper, plain paper, actually materialize into a project that has been delivered with excellence and with class. Makes me extremely proud to be a Nigerian, and really happy to see the state government and the governor putting a vision into reality, and that's what we saw on Saturday.
In response, the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, described Access Bank as a partner in progress, noting that the commissioning of the Gateway International Airport is the implementation of a vision that his administration had when he assumed office, which he said was followed with passion that was keyed into by Access Bank.
Right time. I'm not sure we could have built that airport. When you think of an airport that was built when the exchange rate was probably 400 or 1,000 naira to the dollar. Such a world-class airport, as alluded to by Mr. President himself. If we didn't have the financing at the right time, we will not be where we are today. Imagine building that airport today at 1,400 or 1,500 to the dollar. It would have been very difficult vision to implement. So on that note, on behalf of the entire government and GoTo of Ogun State, we say thank you to the Access Bank family. Thank you very much.
That Access Bank has set a standard and a barometer for other banks to follow in the country. In a move to strengthen industrial growth and expand employment opportunities, the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, has commissioned the ATC Business and Industrial Park in Odiremo. The project, driven through a public-private partnership initiative, is expected to boost economic activities, attract investment, and provide jobs for youth across Remo land. Matthew Shomi reports.
Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun, represented by the Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Engineer Ade Akinsanya, formally inaugurates the ATC Business and Industrial Park in Odiremo. Governor Abiodun says the project aligns with his administration's vision of creating a business-friendly environment and stimulating industrial development across the state. He assures investors of continuous government support.
It will enhance access to goods and services, promote local enterprise, and create a vibrant commercial center.
The commissioning ceremony is followed by the groundbreaking of the Park Shopping Mall, performed by the Akaribu and Paramount ruler of Remoland.
I'm so happy with what I have seen.
In their guru messages, Chairman of Remo Growth and Development Foundation, Sheni Adetu, Are Kola Oyefeso, and other stakeholders commend the initiative, describing it as a strategic investment that will drive economic growth in the region. They also applaud Senator Oladipo Odujirin for his commitment to community development.
Having industrial park is not very common in this country. It's a new paradigm shift. So your traditional way like government order do this. It's a kind of employment generation that is doing in there. Do you know the number of people that will be benefiting from this place? Therefore, I want to plead with our people. They should emulate the senator.
And I want to congratulate our distinguished senator, leading leader, for this laudable project. This is a self-financing project without recourse to any financial loan from any bank. This is complementing our executive governor, the legacy project of the Gateway Airport, which was commissioned a few days ago.
We are going to experience monumental job creations.
It is going to bring tremendous, improvement.
In his welcome address, Chairman of Abejoye Trading Company Limited, Senator Oladipo Odujirin, notes that the project represents a private sector-driven, infrastructure-backed investment platform needed to reposition Nigeria's economy.
We are providing power, we are providing security, we are providing water, we are providing sanitation. So that when they come, they don't come with their machine and start the business.
The highlights of the event include the unveiling of a bus statue and a tour of the industrial park by dignitaries and invited guests. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
Still ahead, Senate reaffirms commitment to strengthening health sector. More news and report after the break. Please stay with us. You're still watching the news at 8 on Ogun State Television. Nigeria has stepped up efforts to strengthen economic cooperation with Indonesia, seeking to draw policy lessons from the Asian country's $1.4 trillion economy as part of its broader growth and reform agenda. This was at the core of discussions when the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning received the ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Nigeria, Mr. Bambang Suharto, in Abuja during a courtesy visit. According to the ministry statement, the visit aims to advance discussions on economic cooperation, institutional partnerships, and sustainable development. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, led Nigeria's delegation at the meeting, which also included the Minister of State, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anita, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Deborah Odo, and other senior officials. The minister noted that Nigeria is keen to understudy Indonesia's economic transformation as it implements its 2026 to 2030 National Development Plan while pursuing its ambition to build a $1 trillion economy driven by private sector participation and global collaboration. In his remarks, the Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Suharto, reaffirmed his country's commitment to strengthening long-standing ties with Nigeria, identifying key areas of cooperation including trade and investment, budget management, economic diversification, and capacity building. The ambassador highlighted ongoing agricultural collaboration, particularly livestock development initiatives in Sokoto and Kebbi State, as well as growing partnerships in the pharmaceutical sector, with Indonesian firms establishing manufacturing facilities in Lagos. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, has presented letters of credence to 3 ambassadors designate, authorizing them to represent Nigeria in their respective postings. The recipient, Ambassador Aminu Dahato, United Kingdom, Ambassador Ayodele Oke, France, and Senator Jimo Ibrahim, permanent representative designate to the United Nations in New York, presenting the document on behalf of President Bola Tinubu. Dumegu Ojukwu said she was honored to formally accredit the envoys. She explained that letters of credence are official documents issued by head of state to introduce and accredit ambassadors to host countries. The minister congratulated the envoys and wished them a successful tour of study of duty. The presentation follows the approval of 65 ambassadors and high commissioners by President Tinubu. According to his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onunuga, 31 non-career and 34 career diplomats were deployed after their confirmation by the Senate in December 2025. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has since begun induction for the envoys who are expected to assume duty after receiving agreement from their host countries. Civil servants across Ogun State have resumed duty following the Easter public holiday, signaling a return to full-scale economic and administrative activities after days of religious observance and rest. The state's head of service, Kendi Onosoya, while commending workers for a peaceful day celebration, noted that government also maximized the festive period to advance critical developmental projects aimed at strengthening service delivery. Olaide Oloyeshuluade reports.
Economic activities begin to gather momentum across the state as civil servants return to their duty posts after the Easter holiday. From the early hours of the day, major motor parks in Abeokuta and other parts of the state recorded increased passenger traffic, reflecting a surge in workforce mobility and the gradual restoration of routine socio-economic engagement. Commercial vehicles ply various routes, conveying commuters to workplaces, while many workers acknowledge that although the holiday offers a period of rest, reflection and spiritual renewal, the demands of productivity and public service remain paramount. As several government offices visited, administrative processes progressively resumed as civil servants settle into their roles, attending to officials' responsibilities and addressing backlogs accumulated during the holiday period. Speaking on the resumption, the Ogun State Head of Service, Kehinde Onosonya, commends workers for their discipline and sense of duty, describing the Easter holiday as peaceful, orderly, and reflective of the state's commitment to harmony.
We are glad to be back after the Easter holiday. As workers, we must continue to imbibe the value of dedication, love, peace, and harmony. The public holiday was also a major milestone for our dear Gateway State. Landmark projects were commissioned, which include the Gateway International Airport in Peru, Ogun State. It further brought great attention to Ogun State.
It further explained that beyond the festivities, the state government utilized the period to execute key developmental initiatives, including the commissioning of infrastructure projects designed to enhance institutional efficiency and improve public service delivery.
The spirit of Ogun State as 50 still lives on, and this is what should be described as a significant event in the life of our dear state. The civil service as the engine room of government is happy to be part of this great celebration. We are part of the integrated ecosystem, and we must continue to be alive to our responsibilities. I want to charge our workers to continue to dedicate themselves to greater tasks ahead.
Civil servants are encouraged to sustain a culture of diligence, accountability, and professionalism as the state continues to prioritize growth, efficiency, and responsive governance. Olaide Oloye Sholwade, OGTV News.
Induction and orientation program for the newly recruited civil servants is a clear demonstration of the commitment of the current administration in Ogun State to developing a workforce that is competent and ethically grounded for efficiency in service delivery. The Ogun State Head of Service, Kehinde Onosonya, dropped the hint while declaring open a 2-day induction and orientation for the newly recruited junior officers into the basic cadres grades of the civil and public service across MDAs. Benga Dekwia reports that the over 500 new officers were injected into this state civil service in the course of the induction.
Amid excitement and jubilation at the Obas Complex in Okemos from Abeokuta, newly recruited civil servants gather for a comprehensive induction and orientation program designed to prepare them for the public service. The training provides participants with a solid foundation in government principles, policies, and administrative practices. It also covers key areas such as government structure, ethical standards, public administration, and effective communication within the public sector. The Permanent Secretary Bureau of Establishment and Training, Mrs. Lydia Fajumbo, explains that the goal is to equip the new officers with the knowledge and skills required to perform their duties with confidence, integrity, and professionalism.
It is also important to emphasize that discipline, punctuality, and commitment are key values essential of every public servant. Your attitude to this training will also impact the overall effectiveness of the service.
Declaring the program open, the Head of Service, Kehinde Onosonya, urges the officers to embrace the Shaya mantra and remain committed to excellence in service while appreciating the state governor for prioritizing workforce development.
And let me assure you that government shall continue to prioritize the welfare and development of the workforce. Within the limit of available resources, efforts will be made to ensure that workers are supported and motivated to perform at their best.
This commitment is based on the understanding that a satisfied workforce is essentially for efficient service delivery.
Other permanent secretaries, including those in the Bureau of Local Government Pension, the Bureau of State Pension, and Bureau of Public Service Reform, also charged the new recruits to uphold diligence and accountability in service. Responding on behalf of the participants, the newly recruited officers pledged to contribute their quota to the development of Ogun State.
I feel happy and I feel blessed to be among here today. I see it as an opportunity to explore more in any agency.
It has really been life-changing for me. I've been able to work with people greater than me, and I've learned a lot about the ministry.
We say a big thank you to our Excellency Prince Dapabiodun for creating this kind of opportunity for me to be part of this newly employed officers.
Over 500 officers were formally inducted into the State Civil Service.
The Senate Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening Nigeria's healthcare system. Chairman of the committee, Senator Ikpalibo Harry Banigo, made the pledge in a message to commemorate World Health Day 2026. World Health Day is marked annually to raise awareness on critical health issues and promote global action towards improved healthcare delivery. Banigo, in her message, highlighted the theme for this year, Together for Health, stand with science, stressing the need to prioritize maternal and newborn health in Nigeria. The senator, who is also a medical doctor, said she had continued to champion a legislative effort aimed at reforming the health sector. She said the committee would focus on strengthening healthcare delivery at the secondary and tertiary levels, increasing investment in health infrastructure, and improving training and retention of healthcare workers, especially in underserved communities. Banigo also called for stronger collaboration among stakeholders, including development partners, civil society organizations, traditional institutions, and healthcare professionals, to tackle persistent health challenges. The Kano State House of Assembly has withdrawn its notice of impeachment against former Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam following his resignation from office. The decision was reached during a plenary presided over by Speaker Jibril Ismail after a motion was moved by the majority leader Lawan Hussain. Addressing journalists after the sitting, Hussaini stated that the withdrawal was in line with Order 3, Rule 6A of the Assembly's rules, noting that the former Deputy Governor's voluntary resignation made further legislative action unnecessary. The Assembly had, on March 5, 2026, initiated impeachment proceedings against Abdulsalam over allegations of gross misconduct, abuse of office, and breach of public trust. The move followed a petition from the executive arm of government which accused him of alleged irregularities during his tenure as Commissioner for Local Government Affairs between 2023 and 2024. While presenting the petition at the time, the majority leader said the impeachment process was undertaken in accordance with Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Nigerians have been told not to believe every report read on social media because the number of content creators have outweighed those of trained journalists. This were the opinion of contributors at the first Comrade Ambassador Tunde Oladojoye Memorial Lecture organized by his committee of friends in Abeokuta. Fowora Adesowo report.
At exactly 1 year after the demise of Comrade Tunde Oladojoye, his friends and well-wishers and political associates converged on the cinema hall of the June 12 Cultural Center, Kutu Abeokuta, for the maiden memorial lecture. His lawyer, Otuba Taufik Lawal, his associate in the Committee of Democracy and Human Rights, as well as political associates, in the All Progressive Congress, led by the Deputy State Chairman of the party, Chief James Dino, as well as top-notch in the media industry, were at the event. Guest speaker and former Deputy Speaker, Ogun State House of Assembly, Honorable Remi Azan, while speaking on the topic, the pen, the throat, and the burden of preserving legacy of ethical journalism, submitted that who pays the piper dictates the tune.
The pen is mightier than the sword, has endured across generations. Yet its true implication is often underestimated. The pen shapes narratives, influences perceptions, and ultimately determines the direction of society. However, with such power comes an equally weighty responsibility. Ethical journalism is not about sensationalism or expediency. It is about accuracy, fairness, and courage. It demands that the journalist stands firm, even when the truth is inconvenient or dangerous.
Azan, however, warned that only the truth exalts a nation and could open doors of opportunity for journalists. Honorable Azan also continued that not everything seen in the social media or media are the truth, but all are meant for a purpose. Other contributors agree. The chairman, planning committee, and pen-pushing publisher, Dimeji Kayode Adedeji, said Comrade Olatunjoye had come, saw, and conquered, and even touched lives of many, including lives of the families of dead journalists. Olori Toyin Banjo, a member of the deceased family, lamented that the healthcare system of the country needs a total overhaul for efficiency. Adefowora Adesanwo, OGTV News. At exactly 1 year,
Up next is business news with Olayemi Takuro. Please stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Publicly quoted fuel marketing companies recorded a sharp decline in profitability in 2025, with earnings indicators falling by 60 and 70%, highlighting the growing challenges in Nigeria's rapidly transforming downstream petroleum sector. This was disclosed in the Nigeria Energy Downstream Industry Report 2025, which noted that the sector, despite ongoing historic transition driven by local refining and fuel deregulation, is facing intense financial pressure from competition, rising costs, and market volatility. It attributes the developments to intense price competition, distressed marketing margins, rising borrowing costs, and higher logistics and operating expenses, which collectively place significant pressures on marketers' financial performance. The report themed resilience and transformation. Nigeria's downstream sector in the era of local refining provides a comprehensive assessment of the industry's shift from an import-dependent system to a refinery-driven supply chain. Africa's largest refinery, owned by billionaire industrialist Aliko Dangote, has ramped up export of gasoline and urea to African markets, grappling with supply shortages triggered by the ongoing Iran war. Dangote disclosed this during a facility tour of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in Lagos, stating that the plant is currently operating at its full capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. He added that the refinery had already exported about 17 cargoes of gasoline to other African countries in recent weeks as demand surged across the continent. According to him, export of urea fertilizer have also increased significantly, with the company redirecting shipments to African markets that were previously not major destinations. Nigeria has achieved a major fiscal milestone, with non-oil revenue now accounting for 75% of federally collected funds, marking the end of a 14-year dependence on crude oil. This is according to a March 2026 report by Quartz Economists. The report showed that the country's revenue structure had shifted dramatically. Tax revenue now contributes 87% of total federal income, while all shares has dropped to just 27%. Historically, oil revenue dominated Nigeria's federal accounts between 2010 and 2014. Crude oil contributed roughly 3/4 of total revenue, leaving the country highly exposed to fluctuations in global oil prices. The 2014 oil price crash triggered a fiscal crisis, slowing GDP growth from 6.1% in 2010 to 2014 to just 1.2% between 2015 and 2019, and causing per capita GDP to fall nearly 75% from over 4,000 in 2014 to over 1,000 in 2024. The Nigerian Communications Commission has announced that telecom operators will be required to compensate subscribers for poor service quality starting this month as part of a directive aimed at enforcing compliance with network performance standards. The directive was made through a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the Minister, Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, Bolaji Akinola. The operators further expressed concerns that policies, operational bottlenecks and preferential treatments allegedly being accorded some foreign-linked entities by certain terminal operators are creating an uneven playing field. Responding to the concerns, Oyetola reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to protecting investments and maintaining fair competition. The Nigerian Aviation Handling Company (PLC) has announced a significant payout for its investors, recommending a total cash dividend of 12.18 billion naira for the 2025 financial year. The move follows a period of stellar financial performance where the African aviation logistics leader maintained a double-digit growth trajectory across all primary business metrics. Under the new proposal, shareholders will receive a cash dividend of 6.25 per share, a marked increase from the 5.94 naira paid in 2024. In a further move to bolster investor value, the board has recommended a 147 bonus share issue, effectively increasing shareholder stakes by 14.3% at no additional cost. This means that a shareholder currently holding 1,000 shares will receive an additional 143 bonus shares, bringing their total holdings to 1,143 shares. And that ends business news. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Olayemi, for the business update. Now to the first thing. 2 people have been taken to hospital after a serious fire at a residential property in Aberdeen. Meanwhile, a gunman was killed and 2 were injured in a shootout near the Israeli consulate in Istanbul. Let's join Olayemi Takura for details on the first thing.
2 people have been taken to the hospital after a serious fire at a residential property. The alarm was raised in the Summerfield Terrace area on Tuesday morning. Flames could be seen coming through a roof of a building, causing smoke to billow across the city center skyline. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service sent several units to the scene, including a hired vehicle. The Scottish Ambulance Service took 2 casualties to Aberdeen Royal Infirmary, and police said some properties were evacuated. Similarly, a gunman was killed and 2 were injured in a shootout near the Israeli consulate in Istanbul, which Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan called a heinous act of terror. Turkish Interior Minister Mustafa Simsi said 2 policemen were slightly injured in the gunfight. He further said the attackers had come to Istanbul from the city of Izmit by rental car and that 2 of them were brothers. In a statement on X, the Interior Ministry named the gunman killed as Yunus E.S., who said it was connected to the terrorist organization that exploits religion. That is understood to be a reference to the Islamic State group, so no group has said it was behind the attack. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has suspended medical evacuations from Gaza to Egypt via the Rafah crossing after a contractor was killed by Israeli troops.
WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom said the contractor, named locally as Majid Aslan, aged 54, was killed in a security incident and that 2 staff were present but not injured. He gave no further details. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry said the contractor was driving a WHO-rented vehicle in southern Gaza when it was targeted by Israeli forces. Israel's military said its troops identified an unmarked vehicle approaching them and the yellow line, posing an immediate threat, referring to the line marking Israeli-held territory. In response, the troops fired warning shots. The vehicle continued to accelerate towards the troops, who then responded with additional fire that hit the vehicle. And finally, dozens of people have died from floods following heavy rains in recent days in the Angolan capital, Luanda, and other areas across the country. Emergency services have reported at least 29 deaths in Luanda and the central city of Benguela, with more than 34,000 people affected. The flooding also damaged thousands of homes and public infrastructure, with damaged roads and bridges, fallen trees and electric poles. The collapse of a bridge pillar on Halo River disrupted traffic between Benguela and Huambo provinces. President João Lorenzo mourned the death, saying the country was in a race against the clock to find, rescue and offer medical care to those affected. And that's it on the foreign scene.
Sports news is next after this break. Please stay with us.